Master. The wind has changed. Can you feel it? Something new is rising. And the heartbeat of the drums echoes across the stars.
You think you are unassailable. But consider the cost of your victory.
The darkness will consume all it touches. Stars will burn black.
Thousands killed. A planet devastated.
Ashes raining on lifeless worlds.
There is only one way to end this chaos and bring order to the galaxy. You must seize the Eternal Throne.
As a young Jedi, I went to war. I accepted violence and darkness, and the Emperor called to me from across the galaxy. He made me a Sith Lord and named me Darth Revan.
The dark side offers power, for power's sake.
I killed for it. I turned on the Republic.
You must crave it, covet it, true power.
Can't you see you're on the wrong side?
The Force will change you, it will transform you. Some fear this change.
The Emperor is dead. For you, for me, for the galaxy.
To embrace the transformation, there can be no compromise. Mercy, compassion, loyalty, all these things will prevent you from claiming what is rightfully yours.
You won't stop me.
The final hour has come. Across the horizon, on one side of the Russian steppes, are the armies of hell. On the other side lay the armies of heaven. Lucifer steps forward and speaks. Today is a red day for us. Today is a day that we finally accept the fact that our Maker has truly forsaken us. He has so from the start. We have suffered for his grand design, our children, Our loved ones taken down paths designed by his will that they can never come back from. Words said, trust broken, lives destroyed, and a road of suffering is what we now walk. All of it pieces that fit into the puzzle that is his ultimate plan. Even this conflict was a part of his intended outcomes. Try as he might, though, he does not control the outcome. He tells us we are the defeated adversary, that this battle is already decided, but he is demoralizing us. A trick used to defeat your opponent's moral and confidence on the battlefield. We shall not be swept aside for his wings of glory and praise any longer. If you have suffered as I have suffered, if you understand the pain that I feel, then come, and we shall battle alongside you. You have your war to win, but so do we. Together, we can help each other win our freedom from the oppression of the dogmatic regime both on earth and in heaven. Lucifer looked and saw four angels flying directly for him. He sidestepped as they went flying past him, and he began to spin around, kicking up a whirlwind of a dust devil, yanking angels into the vortex as they tried to strike at him. Once he had all four, he grabbed them like a shot put and flung head over heels at Michael as he noticed him barreling straight towards Hell's generals. The force of their impact had knocked Michael back several feet. As he picked himself up, he saw Lucifer on the other side of the valley. You know, brother, even from way over here I can sense your arrogant pride emanating from you. Father was right. It will be your downfall. Lucifer scoffed at Michael's words. You know something. Our father has one severe flaw that he can never deny. He can't see what truly lay within someone's heart. He only seems to see what he wants to see, not what really lies within. If he could, then he would have seen that it is not vanity that drives me, brother. It's the responsibility and the ambitions of others' schemes against my name that he bore upon me like a curse. That's what always has and always will drive me, brother. One who was so skillfully crafted, such as yourself, to be a tool against me should know this to be true more so than anyone else. Lucifer watched Michael carefully, reading his every reaction to what he was saying. Silently in his mind, Lucifer's thoughts were, yes, my naive brother, dance upon the possibilities of my words. Step right into my trap where I want you to be. Suddenly Michael flung a boulder towards Lucifer as he yelled at him. Father was right. You talk too much. Lucifer grinned and casually sidestepped away from being struck by the hurling boulder. You know, brother, for all your skills that Father gifted you, he sure didn't gift you with any skill at aiming. I'm not sure who would be worse. You are a suburban yuppie at a basketball game. He chuckled as the boulder hit the ground and rolled past him. Out of his peripheral vision, Lucifer saw Michael flying towards him as he said, I wasn't trying to hit you, only distract you. Reacting quickly, Lucifer dug his heels into the ground and braced for the impact. At the last second, Lucifer launched himself upward, hopping over Michael as he came barreling towards him, gripping his wings at their base where they joined into his shoulder blades, then spun there, combined inertia into a ball as he dug his feet into the ground after a few spins and flung Michael head over heels. You really need to work on your form, Michael. I'd give that a 2.5 score. Michael didn't even let the dust settle as he flew low to the ground and turned sharply upward, gripping Lucifer by the throat. Don't you ever shut up? He asked as they soared higher and higher into the sky. Lucifer muttered, I hate to tell you, brother, but you have really bad breath. It's making me dizzy from this distance. Lucifer slipped from his grasp and pivoted himself to swing around behind him, and jammed his elbow into the center junction point of his wings, paralyzing him from using them to control their descent. Lucifer dug his knee into Michael's back and pulled on each wing at the last minute, causing them to glide for a moment before crashing into the ground. Lucifer barrel rolled away from the impact onto his feet as he casually walked away without seemingly missing a beat in his stride. "Lovely chatting with you again, brother. Do give our father hugs and kisses from me, won't you?" he said as he walked confidently away, then disappeared in a flurry of crows. In order to keep the armies of man from losing their nerve on the battlefield, the hierarchy of heaven and hell had to take possession of their generals. All across the valley there were the armies of the two great nations locked in battle, and occasionally from them, angels and demons would emerge and clash in battle as well. Their mobile ballistic launchers would be hit with gunfire, killing the operators, yet still there were unseen hands finishing locking in the targeting systems and pressing the launch buttons. An armored Humvee was hit with sniper fire straight through the windshield and killing the driver. As it began to swerve off course, it suddenly veered back into a steady position, and the driver's side door came flying open as the dead driver's body suddenly was flung out of the vehicle that was beginning to speed up. Right before the eyes of the passenger and gunner, a demon materialized behind the wheel and looked at them as it said, "Please keep all limbs inside the vehicle at all times. This is your last stop." The Humvee slowed down enough for them to safely jump out. As soon as they cleared the vehicle, it suddenly whipped around and headed straight towards Michael in the middle of the battlefield. The demon grinned and screamed as it pushed the gas pedal to the floor. "Welcome to the express elevator to Hell, Flyboy." Michael barely gave it much thought or effort as he said in response, "I don't think so, demon," and he stuck his hand out, the Humvee hitting his hand as if slamming into a wall, and flipped right over his head. The demon came flying out of the windshield as Michael moved in one swift motion, cleaving the demon in two with his flaming sword. Michael stood with his shoulders firm. Across the battlefield stood his adversary, Lucifer. Between them was the combined armies of two nations' infantry divisions locked in a clandestine, archaic battle. The combined forces were roughly 60,000 men total, the largest battle of soldiers fighting face to face in recorded human history. In addition to them, in total, were somewhere close to 5,000 armored vehicle divisions surrounding them and firing on each other and into the center of the battlefield. Above them, the sky was dark and gray with what seemed like a giant cloud of mosquitoes. Roughly 15,000 autonomous drones were clashing in battle, and even higher above them were roughly 400 various fighter jets meshed into the largest dogfight imaginable. Suddenly, Michael and Lucifer disappeared into a blur from a mortal's ability to see. In actuality, they were moving so fast even an angel's eyes had a hard time keeping track of them, as flashes of light suddenly sparked all around the battlefield randomly at once. Neither Michael or Lucifer had even broken a sweat. Lucifer yelled out to Michael, "Oh, you're getting slow, brother. Is there any merit to that John Travolta movie about you? Are you beginning to get old and form a robust beer gut?" Michael began to see Lucifer's tactic. He realized he was stalling him with conversation and decided to could play that game. "I don't know, brother. I would have to ask you the same about that TV show and that British guy. It seems to promote the belief that you're an emotional wreck that consoles his trauma with the pleasures in his pants. A very human-like role for you. Lucifer maintained his composure as he said, "Well, now you know why the author of Faust died now, don't you? The sky was a sight out of some horror film as bodies of angels and demons steadily were falling from the skies dead from the battle going on above them. The ground was littered with bodies and wreckage of vehicles, and the sand was soaked with a mixed layer of angel, demon, and human blood that was slowly turning the desert into a tundra marshland. Suddenly from over the peaks of the mountains rose a third force. It was the combined might and military power of the United Nations, and there at the helm of their combined forces, clad in white and gold-trimmed armor, was the Nazarene, the Son of Man. His presence illuminated the war-torn skies with a radiant light as he motioned the armies of heaven to move forward. Lucifer recoiled back as the light bathed him in its iridescent glow. "What? This is not possible. How can you be here now, Christ child?" Jesus spoke with the sound of 1,000 roaring lions. "I am and have always been here, fallen one, here and forevermore. This is why you were cast out, Lucifer, because you had no faith in the might of my Father. You disbelieved the possibilities he is capable of, and thus faltered in your belief, and eventually your loyalty towards him." Lucifer's anger boiled into rage. "You speak of things you have no idea about what and why they happened, little golden lamb. All your father's might is present for this battle. But where is he? Hiding behind his throne as he always has done." Suddenly the skies parted, and a brilliant light shined down from above, and a figure, as tall as the skies, stepped down with 1 foot upon the earth and 1 foot upon the seas, and he spoke with the sound of 1,000 men. "Vile spirit of contempt, you will disrupt my works no more." And with the sound of 100 trumpets that stripped the armor from Lucifer, leaving him bare-chested and vulnerable as the skies crackled with lightning, and demons suddenly fell from the skies in the hundreds. The entire earth suddenly shifted and blurred as a fiery plain suddenly appeared where the earth once stood a second ago. Separating the humans from the demons was God himself, as the humans remained with their feet still firm upon the earth. But the demons slid and fell into the fiery background that stood before them. It stretched out before them, centering its descent on a large black region where they all seemed to be falling towards. Some of those who fought with the demons fell into this landscape as well. Then the image of Lucifer suddenly stood up before he was drawn in as well, and said, "Not this time, Father, for this is but the beginning. We have all of eternity to dance, and one day I will inevitably win." He held his fist into the sky as a bright flash of 1,000 suns burst forth. In an instant, every single creature on the battlefield was burnt to a crisp. Heaven, hell, humans were all instantly incinerated. All that remained intact, laying in the sand where Lucifer once stood, was a book with a twisted-looking face on the front and the words Necronomicon printed on the cover. The sound of ominous laughter drifted with the breeze of the wind. Armageddon was over.
When I found you, I saw what all masters live to see. Raw, untamed power. beyond that. Something truly special.
I pledge myself to your teachings.
You shall be known as Darth Vader.
My mentor taught me everything about the Force. Even the nature of the dark side.
Only through me can you achieve a power greater than any Jedi.
Always two there are. No more. No less. A master. And an apprentice. My worthy apprentice. Son of darkness. Where there was conflict, I now sense resolve. Where there was weakness, strength.
I've surpassed you, Master. And I've surpassed the need for this kind of lesson.
Complete your training and fulfill your destiny.
Failed, Master.
This is only the beginning.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him.